गाइस, आज हम बेथोवन पोयम जो है उसका लाइन बाय लाइन एक्सप्लेनेशन मैं आप लोग के लिए लेकर आई हूँ। सबसे पहले मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि यहाँ से हमारी लाइन स्टार्ट होकर यहाँ तक का एक्सप्लेनेशन मैं आप लोगों को देने वाली हूँ। Shane Coysen, the poet, starts his poem with one word, listen. He does so to emphasize the point that the best way to truly appreciate the musical genius that Beethoven was to simply listen to his music. The poet then dwells on the abusive childhood that Beethoven had. His father, who was a musician himself and a violent alcoholic, was accustomed to hitting his little son. The poet mentions a few of the vices that some fathers have. He says that some men are alcoholics, some shout and are verbally and emotionally abusive, and some men are physically abusive because of which they hit their children. Beethoven's father, John van Beethoven, displayed all these forms of depravity. He would not only drink alcohol but also shout at his son and beat him violently whenever he made a mistake while playing music. The poet tries to analyze the father's behavior to determine why it was that he subjected Ludwig Beethoven to such abusive treatment. The poet does not know for sure, but he assumes that it was because all fathers have excessive and unreasonable expectations from their sons, so much so that they all want their sons to grow up to be geniuses. So John van Beethoven subjected his son to verbal, emotional and physical abuse to bring out his musical genius. नेक्स्ट जो हमारा एक्सप्लेनेशन होगा वो है यहाँ तक। In line 6 of the poem, the poet simply writes the name Beethoven to stress on the fact that one simply had to mention the name of his great musician to experience a deep sense of awe and admiration for him and his music. His name inspired deep respect and admiration the world over. Yet, ironically, in the house where Beethoven lived as a little boy, his name did not mean anything to his abusive father. Beethoven's basic human need to be recognized as an individual with an identity of his own and the right to be treated with dignity was completely disregarded. As a little boy, he grew up in an environment where he had to earn mercy. This means that he had to constantly prove to his father that he had done what was required of him to be shown pity and to be spared a beating. Any kindness that was shown to him was conditional. He would be shown mercy as long as he played the piano flawlessly, so much so that the notes seemed to be filled with such energy that they would transcend the confines of the house he lived in, be carried right through the roof, and reach the heavens above. So divine, so heavenly, so ethereal and so energetic was Beethoven's music that it would playfully tickle the toes of angels. This means that Beethoven's music was divine enough to bring pleasure and happiness to the angels. Angels are believed to play ethereal, heavenly music on their harps. Beethoven's music was so heavenly and beautiful that the angelic harps could not capture half of the raw passion or intense emotional energy and enthusiasm that the hands of the young Beethoven exude. The hands of that little boy who went on to become hard of hearing. यहाँ पर एक चीज़ नोट करने की है. While the exact cause of Beethoven's eventual deafness is not known, it is believed that because his father would subject him to had thrashings and would box his ears severely, it could have damaged his auditory nervous system. Quite possible उसके पापा की पिटाई की वजह से वो बच्चे के सुनने की जो कैपेसिटी थी वो चली गई हो. नेक्स्ट लाइन है हमारी. To re-emphasize the awe and admiration that the name Beethoven inspired, the poet uses the technique of repetition. He repeats the name Beethoven. The poet says that despite being the musical genius that he was, each time he placed his fingers on the ivory keys. In earlier days, the white keys of a piano were made of ivory, so it is known as ivory keys. Of the piano, he would hear his father's harsh, discouraging, and overly critical words being repeated. The poet uses the word anthem for the father's oft repeated words. The poet means to say that the father would go on repeating his words as if they were part of a refrain or the part of a song that is repeated at the end of a verse. The father's cruel words were repeated almost like a chant. The words that Beethoven's father would keep repeating whenever his son placed his fingers on the ivory keys of the piano were, "It was not good enough for Beethoven's father. His son would never play well enough." To gain his father's approval, Beethoven would move his fingers over the piano slowly. The music that was produced was not good enough for his father. Beethoven would then play soft notes on the piano, but it was still not good enough for his father. Beethoven then pounded hard on the piano to produce strong, powerful notes. It was still not good enough for his father. Beethoven would keep on practicing on the piano until he would be too tired to play anymore and his fingers would get cramped up, meaning because of overuse, they would curl up and become too stiff and painful to move. They would curl up just like the gnarled or knotted, bent and twisted roots of tree trunks. Despite having practiced so hard and so long, Beethoven's performance would still not be good enough for his father. यहाँ पर एक बात नोट करने की है, द ओवरली क्रिटिकल एटीट्यूड ऑफ हिज फादर had a very damaging impact on Beethoven. It deeply impacted his self-esteem, and so, all through his life, no matter how beautifully he played, Beethoven would never be satisfied with his own compositions or performance. So, एक चीज़ ध्यान रखिए, कभी भी किसी को इतना ज़्यादा क्रिटिसाइज मत कीजिए कि सामने वाला अपनी ही चीज़ों को भूल जाए. नेक्स्ट हमारा जो लाइन का एक्सप्लेनेशन होगा वो है यहाँ तक. The poet mentions the name Beethoven again because he continues to use the technique of repetition to emphasize what an amazing musician he was. The poet then refers to a tragic blow suffered by Beethoven, the loss of his hearing. Beethoven started to go deaf in his 20s, and when that happened, he became a musician without his most valuable piece of equipment, his eardrums. For a musician, it is very important to be able to hear what their compositions sound like, to be able to determine if they are playing them right. As Beethoven's hearing became increasingly impaired, he could no longer rely on his ears or eardrums to be able to assist him in pounding out or loudly playing musical notes to create the musical compositions or symphonies that existed in his mind. Possibly referring to Beethoven's first performance of his Ninth Symphony, when he could not hear the thunderous applause of the audience. The poet tells us that after he lost his hearing, Beethoven could no longer hear the sound of the appreciative clapping of the audience. He could not hear the people's expressions of love and admiration for him. He could not hear the rich, privileged elite women seated in the front row whispering his name in adulation as they let his music permeate every nerve, cell, and fiber of their being. The poet goes on to imply that Beethoven was such an amazing musician that he did not let his disability hinder his ability to create music. The poet compares the impact of Beethoven's music on his female admirers with a fleet of warships, particularly Spanish warships, coursing through the water and making its way through cannonballs being fired at it by the enemy. When a cannonball hits a warship, it detonates or causes an explosion, and the ship splits into several tiny segments. In the same way, Beethoven's musical compositions would impact the entire being of his listeners so forcefully that it would rouse and stir every cell, nerve, and sense of their bodies. so much so that they would feel as if every tiny part of their being would burst or explode because of Beethoven's music would cause his listeners to be overcome by a burst of sensations or feelings that were divine or ethereal. Every musical note that Beethoven played would leave track marks or a lasting imprint over every part of the being of his listeners. They would yearn for and would long for one more tune to be played by him so that they could be again be struck by his powerful notes. His listeners simply could not have enough of Beethoven's music because he and his music were addictive. His listeners wanted to go on listening to him play his musical compositions. नेक्स्ट जो हमारी लाइन का एक्सप्लेनेशन है वो है The poet mentions that Beethoven remained unaffected by the rank, status, and position of his admirers. He would not humble himself before anyone and therefore did not kneel before anyone, not even kings and queens. However, when he lost his hearing, Beethoven took the drastic measure of amputating or cutting off the legs of his piano so that he could continue to compose and play music by feeling its vibrations with his feet, as the vibrations of the music he played were transmitted from the piano to the floor. This act of his was not only proof of his dedication to music but also of his intelligence, his ability to improvise, and his refusal to give up. The man who knelt before no one, not even kings and queens, got down on his knees for the sake of the music that he loved so much. यहाँ एक बात नोट करने वाली है. A reason why Shane Cousin uses a harsh expression like amputate the legs of his piano is that it emphasizes the fact that Beethoven had to resort to a drastic measure like cutting off the legs of his piano so that he could continue to play music. Furthermore, Cousin's use of this phrase seems to suggest that for Beethoven, the piano on which he composed his music had a living, breathing existing of its own. When he played music on it, it came alive almost like a human being. The word amputation is associated with the loss of a limb and consequently a disability. Hence, the use of this word by the poet also indirectly suggests Beethoven's disability, his loss of hearing. नेक्स्ट हमारा जो लाइन का एक्सप्लेनेशन है The poet says that when an orchestra would play the symphonies or musical compositions of Beethoven, his fathers oft repeated harsh, discouraging, and overly critical words about his music not being good enough would keep echoing in his mind. The poet uses the word anthem for the fathers of repeated words. The poet means to say that the father would go on repeating his words as if they were part of a refrain or the part of a song that is repeated at the end of a verse. The father's words were repeated almost like a chant. Just as a broken or damaged record keeps playing or repeating part of a recording, a piece of music or a song over and over again is an unpleasant and jarring manner. The discouraging words of Beethoven's father would keep on going through Beethoven's mind, causing him a great deal of distress. He would keep on hearing them because the physical, emotional, and verbal abuse that his father had subjected him to and the hurtful words that his father had hurled at him over and over again in his childhood had left a lasting and very damaging impression on him. Those words that he had to listen to over and over again had a very negative impact on his self esteem and filled him with self doubt. Hence, no matter how well his compositions sounded when an orchestra played them, Beethoven would never be satisfied with them. He would never think they were good enough. नेक्स्ट हमारी जो लाइन का एक्सप्लेनेशन है वो है Owing to his father's having drilled into his mind the thought that his compositions were not good enough. No matter how well an orchestra played them, they would not be good enough for Beethoven. It did not matter whether the orchestra played Beethoven's compositions slowly or softly or powerfully, it simply would not be good enough for Beethoven. It is believed that due to this self doubt that was induced by his father's abusive behavior, Beethoven struggled to connect with other people and felt lonely and isolated. Next है when Beethoven became hard of hearing, he avoided social gatherings and distanced himself from others. Due to this, as well as because of the self doubt that he was tormented by, he was a lonely man who was mocked or made fun of by other musicians. Sometimes they would make fun of the crazed manner in which he would conduct an orchestra, never satisfied with his compositions and constantly demanding perfection from himself, and consequently the orchestra that played his compositions. In making fun of him and his dissatisfaction with his compositions, even though he could not hear them, other musicians would pretend to move their hands and behave as if they were playing an instrument because they felt that Beethoven would not be able to tell whether or not they were actually producing musical sounds. They would hold the bows of their string instruments about a quarter of an inch above the strings so that it would seem as if they were playing them, whereas actually their bows would not even touch their instruments and hence no sound would be produced. When this would happen, Beethoven, who could not hear anything or feel any vibration, assumed that they were playing his composition flawlessly, and so, ironically, when the musicians of the orchestra were playing nothing, he would state that their playing was perfect. Next, it would seem to Beethoven that the playing of the musicians, who were in fact not even touching their instruments, was perfect because those with impaired hearing have a very close bond with silence or the absence of sound, so much so that the silence that they are so in tune with, the silence that they are so closely connected with, is even a part of their dreams. It is a natural part. It is a natural part of their being, and so they are very comfortable with it. So, when the musicians who mocked Beethoven played no notes and only pretended to do so, the resulting silence seemed normal and natural to the deaf. To the deaf Beethoven, and he could find no flaw in it. Those musicians then would turn to each other because they were puzzled with this response of Beethoven. They could not understand how to analyze a man like Beethoven. They tried to calculate the distance or come up with a clear demarcation between madness or insanity and pure genius to decide whether to regard Beethoven as a madman or a genius. They tried to ascertain how to establish a difference between the two, which would not have been easy because there is very fine line between madness and genius. A genius usually displays an obsession or an almost crazed passion for what they are remarkably good at, and Beethoven was one such genius. To determine whether the amazing musical compositions of Beethoven were the result of his being a madman or a genius, his critics analyzed his music using a series of hyperboles, a figure of speech that involves exaggeration for the sake of impact. The poet says that Beethoven's critics realized that his musical notes, melodies, and compositions could transport one to distances or far off places and realms far beyond the earthly realm. They could transport one to a heavenly spiritual realm far beyond the biblical towers of Babylon. The Tower of Babylon was built so high that it could make communion with God possible. Beethoven's music would have such an uplifting influence on the soul that it would transport the soul to a heavenly region that was higher than the Tower of Babylon. Listening to his music would be deeply spiritual, divine experience. When the people who were building the Tower of Babel became arrogant, God punished them by making them speak in different languages to make it difficult for them to understand each other. So, the story of the Tower of Babel is also associated with the existence of diverse human languages. By making a reference to it, the poet not only wishes to emphasize that listening to Beethoven's music was a spiritual and divine experience, but also wishes to state that his music transcended the barriers of language. People of different cultures everywhere deeply appreciated his music, regardless of what language they spoke. Another reason why the poet refers to this biblical story could be that just as when the people building the Tower of Babel got confused when they all started speaking different languages, the composers and musicians who listened to Beethoven got confused. They could not decide whether he was a genius or a madman, and then concluded that he was a genius. Using more hyperboles exaggerations, the poet says that Beethoven's musical compositions were so powerful and intense that they could transform entire solar systems into celestial crumbles, clashing with each other, which would make comets collide or crash into each other. The crescendos, notes that gradually increase in loudness that would result from this, were so loud that they caused constellations or groups of stars to shake or quiver until all the stars that formed part of the constellations would start to fall from the sky. Stars would rain from the sky, making it seem as if the whole universe was so deeply moved by Beethoven's music that it had started to cry and shed tears because of being deeply moved or extremely happy and ecstatic. This was because Beethoven was such an extraordinary musician that he could transform emotions into music because he would express himself and his emotions through his music. On realizing how deeply intense and amazing Beethoven's music was, on realizing that Beethoven expressed his emotions through his music, his critics, who were trying to decide what the distance between madness and genius was, in order to differentiate between the two to decide which of the two categories Beethoven fit in, came to the conclusion that the distance between the two was a mere illusion. This distance did not exist. There was no difference between madness and genius because the two overlap far too much. A genius is bound to display a mad or crazed passion for what they excel at, and therefore madness or a crazed passion for something is a clear indication of genius. Therefore, Beethoven's critics concluded that a man had to be a genius and could not be dismissed as a crazed, insane man who was not in control of his mind. यहाँ पर एक चीज़ नोट करने की है, the deaf Beethoven had made silence his strength. In the absence of distracting sounds, he was able to work on constantly improving and perfecting his music. Next हमारी जो लाइन है, once again, to re-emphasize the awe and admiration that the name Beethoven inspired, the poet uses the technique of repetition. He repeats the name Beethoven. He then states that thoughts entered Beethoven's mind with the speed of sound, as if his thoughts were in complete unison with sound. As soon as a thought entered his mind, he would give expression to it through musical sounds or notes. In doing so, he would translate different emotions into musical compositions. He would express himself, his thoughts and his emotions through the music that he composed. यहाँ पर एक चीज़ नोट करने की है, this is one of the main reason why if one wishes to understand the man Beethoven, all one needs to do is listen to his music. लास्ट हमारा जो है, When Beethoven expressed himself through his extraordinary music, his listeners would feel such ecstasy or extreme happiness that for a short while it would seem to them as if joy or great happiness had come alive and had acquired a physical form that was tangible or could be touched and felt. Beethoven would express contrasting emotions through his musical compositions with such perfect synchrony and harmony that it would feel as if, for the first time, one could witness the physical embodiments of opposing passions like love and hate do a waltz or a ballroom dance together with such perfection, synchrony and harmony, grace and beauty in their movements together that one finally realized that to truly understand the kind of man and person that Beethoven was, one did not need to delve into history or read his biography or the story of his life. Doing so was of no significance. To truly understand and get to know Beethoven, all one ever had to do was to listen to his music. His music was an inalienable, inseparable part of his being, and he was an inseparable part of his music. Beethoven's music was an expression of who he truly was, and therefore his music was truly representative of him. Beethoven's music was Beethoven himself. Hence, if one truly wanted to understand him, to know him, to be acquainted with him, all one had to do was listen to his music. If one truly listened to his amazing and extraordinary music, one truly knew and understood the kind of extraordinary and amazing person that Beethoven was. तो आई होप कि आप लोगों को ये एक्सप्लेनेशन अच्छा लगा हो.